Good day, ma'am. Good day, everyone. I am Shana Felionado. This day, I am going to share with you the tips for effective communications. So, I have here the four effective communication is the speaking, listening, writing, and reading. So, the number one is speaking, as eventually they try to repeat what they hear. The second is listening. When people are learning a new language, they first hear it spoken. The writing is finally they reproduce these symbols on paper. The reading is the later. They say that the spoken language is depicted symbolically in print, tips of speaker and communication. So let's start. Number one, the tips of speakers and communication. So number one is intention for connections. So it is aimed for a respectful and compassionate quality of connection so that everyone can express themselves, be heard and understood. The second is listen more than you speak. We have two ears and one mouth. A reminder of what is important, listening is key to a healthy relationship. Often, we are only half listening, waiting for our chance to speak. The third is understand the other person first. When another person feels you understand them, they are far more likely to be open to understanding you. Willingness to understand involves generosity, respect, self control, compassion, and patience. Be curious instead of furious about how others are different from you. The fourth is understand needs, wishes, and values. Everything people say and do expresses an underlying need, longing, or value. We can learn to identify and hear these needs even when they are not expressed explicitly. Because all human beings share these needs, they are magic key to unlocking mutual understanding. Like, for example, if someone says, "You are so selfish, you never do anything to help at home," they are indirectly expressing a longing for consideration and support. But it is coming out as blame and judgment. If we can empathize rather than react, we will connect and the person will feel understood. The five is begin with empathy. This refrain from immediately telling your own similar story, interrogating with lots of data type questions, interpreting the other experience, giving advice. One upping, like example, if you think that's bad, wait till you hear about what happened to me. Dismissing the person's feelings, like example, "Oh, don't be angry." So that is the one of example of number five, the vegan with empathy. Number six is take responsibility for your feelings. So what someone else says or does is not the cause for how we feel. It is the trigger. Our feelings are stimulated by what's happening. I have the example. If someone does not do what they say they will do, we might tell them, "You make me so angry. You are so unreliable." So, meaning to say, these inflammatory accusations could be rephrased as, "I feel frustrated because it's important to me that we keep to agreements we have made." Number eight is the use accurate, neutral descriptions. So, when we are upset, we often interpret what has happened using judgmental language rather than accurately describing what has triggered us. This can get us into a fight immediately. So examples, instead of simply stating you didn't call me, we might interpret and then accuse. You don't care about me. First, describe the situation in a neutral, accurate way, free of judgments or blame. Then the communications can continue with sharing feelings, need a request. For example, instead of saying, that's a really stupid idea, very stupid idea, you might say, if we all go to a movie which ends at midnight, the neutral descriptions, I am worried. So this means the feelings because the children needs to get a full night's sleep. Need. Can we go out to the 2 p.m.? Show stand show and stand specific request. Number 9 is be willing to hear no. So even when these guidelines are careful express request might still elicit from the other persons. Why would this upset us? Is it that our request was actually a demand that we speak the other person to fulfill? We have a choice in how we hear that no. It could be that something else is important to the other person, that they had a different need or value alive in that moment. Maybe the words no is their request for something else to happen, and then we are into the dance of giving a bending. No is not as threatening as we might imagine. The last word is the ways we communicate other than words. Everything that is in our heart and mind is expressed through our body, our facial expressions, that the tone of our voice and the vibrations that emanate from us. All these are intuitively picked up and understood by others. Are our words in harmony with these subtler elements? We are manifesting our consciousness at every moment to have connections. Understanding in harmony in our relationship, we need to nourish those aspects deeply within ourselves. So that is the last words of speakers and communications, ways we communicate other than words. Okay. The next is tip of listening communications. So face number 1 is face the speaker and maintain eye contact. Yes, very important if you are going to report in the front, you need to give your eye contact to the speakers so that they will understand what is the important the way you are going to report in the front of your student. So the next is be attentive but relax. Yes, very important that if you are going to listen, just be relaxed. The third is keep an open mind. It always be open mind if you are going to listen what they speak on you. Number 4 is listen to the words and try to picture what the speaker is saying. Yes, very important. If you are going to listen, just try to pictures or you can do the video of the speakers what they saying for you to understand, or for you to have more learning about the speakers saying in the front. So the next is don't interrupt. Yes, very important. This means of listening communication, don't interrupt. Meaning to say, don't impose your solutions. The sixth is wait for the speakers to pause to ask. Yes, you need to clarify your questions the way the speakers is going to report on the front just needed to pause. Then they are going to ask the question by clarifying questions. The second is ask questions only to ensure understanding. Yes, uh if you're going to questions, you need to ensure that your question is very understandable. Number 8 is try to feel what the speaker's feelings. Yes, if you are going to speak more, you need to have your feelings, your emotion, for they more clearly understanding you. The next is give the speakers regular feedback. Yes, very important. When the speaker is says, you need to very clear and very well if you are going to feedback the speakers. So the last part is very important of listening communication is pay attention to what isn't said. Okay? This is the important. You need to pay attention the way they wanted to say what your question or what they said on you. Next, tips of writing for communications. Ma'am. Tips of writing for communication is the most formal type for communication. Yes, this very important because the way you write, you need to be formal with communication. If you are going to type the formal writing, just just clear just clear and clarify the words of communications. So number 2 is use for documentation. Yes, very important. This for the student also. The writing if you are going to get your or if you are going to do your documentations. This very important of writing for communications to do your documentations of the words, the PowerPoint, or etc. The third is used for circulations of informations. So when the writing for communications, so this important that you need to write more informations for they that they will understand what you are writing or what you are going to say of your informations. The next is conventional by natures. So conventional by natures is very important also because this is also uh this is also part of writing communications, the conventional by nature. The last is the presence of both sender and receiver is not necessary at the same time. Yes, because that is necessary sometimes because that's not the same. The sender, if you're going to send the, like for example, if you're going to send the money, you need to write what who like for example, I am the sender of the money, then my mother is she will receive the money that I send to her. So that is the example of writing for communication. You need to write the sender, then the receiver. So the Other words is the factor. Yes, very important. The time factor is this also includes the writing for communication. Time, if you are going to write more communication, this this also have a time. The next is has fewer cycles. So meaning to say also included the writing communication, the fewer cycles is um how do I say this? The fewer cycles, this is uh you are going to you are going to more cycles about your communications or receiving, or fewer cycles of therapy breaks for survival and newly diagnosed. You need to uh a fewer cycles. This means is the included by writing for communications. Yes. The next is a creative activity. So creative activity very important this because more understandable if you are going to make your activity be creative, be clearly and understandable. For more understandable, the teacher must be impressed your creative activity. The next is practice reading. Yes, practice reading is one of the most important for me because when we are going to practice more reading, this included for have more learning knowledge to do the words that we cannot understand. So if you don't understand what you're writing, there are words that says more practice for you to understand more. The next is understand the way you write. Yes, when we are going to write the informations, you need to understand. If you are going to write the report and you are going to read in, you need to understand for you need to understand the way you write the words, because this important to yourself to to guide your mind or to give your own vocabulary to understand your report. Also if you are have a report also, you need to write also and understand. For the student who wants to give your learning about your discussions, okay, the reading for communications, wait, okay, the tips of reading for communication is identifying the aim for reading. This important also. Knowing the background information, selecting and using the reading strategy, selecting the relevant text, noting down the important points, understanding the right, concentration, checking the comprehensions, learning knowledge, and critical to being a good speakers. So this important also that the reading, when we say reading communications, um it helps to improve our vocabulary mind. Why? Because reading helps in communications. It helps strengthen language and sharpens sentence structures. It gives you a better command over the language. All of these are critical to being a good speakers. So there are the tips, like for example this number 3 is selecting and using the reading strategy. If you are going to read more the story, you have your own strategy for you to understand more of your mind, to have your benefits about reading. So there is the benefits, how do I say this, benefits the improving the functioning of the brain. Yes, it increases your vocabulary, improves theory of mind, increase your knowledge, sharpens memory, strengthens writing skills, and fosters concentrations. So that is the reading is more is more help in our mind to give more understanding about communications, because the way you read, the way your mindset is more creative, learning and understanding about communication. So this is the ends of my report. The end. Thank you and God bless.